Hello, and welcome to the New Dad Rock.
Two dads navigating the ages together.
Musical ages or kids' ages?
I don't even, what does that even mean? Like,
the ages, dude, you know, like the eras. Or the years old, you know, all depends.
Era or era? How do you pronounce that?
Exactly.
The band disappears. They're Chicago-based. They're a former band. They've progressed into Facts. They have a great album called Era.
Oh, I see. Yeah, totally. So I was thinking about what Jasper listens to, and you know,
what's Jasper?
Jasper's my kid.
Oh yeah, right. You have that
like
10-year-old. He's still 10.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks for paying attention. Yeah, we've only been doing this for like 9 months. Like his birthday's next month. I'll let you know. We should have him on for his birthday. That's your present, son. You get to be on the New Dad Rock. And then you know what he would say is like, Dad? No. I'd be the new Kid Rock.
Kid Rock's
Kid
taken,
Rock?
dude. Kid Rock is taken.
What do you mean? Yeah, like by the Wobbles or the Werbles.
No, Kid Rock.
Wiggles.
Like the guy Kid Rock with the hat and the, I don't know, racism.
Wait a minute. No, but like Kid Rock, like the Wiggles and the, I don't know, any of these.
No, but I'm saying there's a performer named Kid Rock. He's kind of famous.
Dude.
It's taken.
So that's why, I can't believe Rock's taken. That's why Jasper hates it. Jasper doesn't like rock music at all. He's like, it's like people screaming. Speaking of which, how are your New Year's resolutions going?
I've only made 2, but the one about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard has been coming into fruition.
And that was listen to them every day? Oh.
Is that what I said? I definitely said listen to them more.
No, I know what it is. Do you remember what your second New Year's resolution was?
To watch Twitch once.
No, I think it was watch Twitch 10 minutes a day. Before I confused the two. I thought you said that about the lizard. But no, you said that about the Twitch. Anyway, all right. So, all hail King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is this prolific psychedelic rock, blues, avant-garde, jam band, rock palooza of a 6-headed beast out of Australia. They've put out 16 albums in the last 12 or so years, if even that long. In the last decade, they put out 16 albums. And they vary widely. There's a very psychedelic rock feel to it, and I really think it fits into the wheelhouse of the New Dad Rock. I think this is going to be a crowd pleaser. Again, like I always say, not for everyone, but this might be worth your time.
How did you hear about it with them?
Well, their name is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, so once you see that in print, maybe it's in a festival lineup or on the pages of some blog in a headline, it sticks in your brain, so it's triggered when you see it 3 or 4 times. So they're pretty prolific, so I'm sure there's an album release notice every couple of weeks.
What does it even mean?
I know the lizard part of it is from the Lizard King, like Jim Morrison.
Yeah, that makes sense. I said
all the other words sort of rhyme, so...
Okay, and wizards are cool.
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm doing the backstory on these guys yet. I don't know. I've just been listening to some of their music. There's a lot to digest, and I'm still on the fence on a lot of it. But I think there's enough variety and enough things that they're trying that at least it's interesting, and that sometimes it's pretty... it has its own particular idiom.
Oh, what does it sound like?
If you had to pin me down on one thing, it would be not exactly like Fish, but if Fish was a little bit more of a heavy metal, hard rock, not really heavy metal, although they did do one complete album as almost a thrash metal band in 2019. Infest the Rats Nest was the name of that album, their 15th. But they start thinking about a really heavy Fish, so they have a cult following. They have that kind of jam band tendency like Les Claypool did in some of his solo work, and even in the later years of Primus, he'll really rock something out. So they'll have like a 16 or 18 or 20 minute jam during shows, and this appears on their live albums. So that's kind of the baseline. And then each album tends to have a theme.
All right, we'll talk about the themes in a moment, but what's the instrumentation of the band? Like how many people are in it, or what's going on? How do they do it?
So I'm pretty sure it's 6 members, and up until their most recent album, so for the first 10 years, it was all the same 6 people, and then their drummer, who I think was also head of their own label, their record label, he essentially stepped aside and focused on running the label, and they got a new drummer for their most recent album. But it's your standard, 2 drummers, bass, couple guitars, singer. There's some keyboards in there, and a few guests that will come in. Your standard rock lineup. There's no sampling. There's no electronic pulses and noise effects. Nothing like a Radiohead or anything like that. Just very organic, blues-based rock and roll. But as I said, it branches off from there.
You mentioned this before. You said most, if not all, their albums are concept albums. Whether it tells like a concrete story, or is a whole concept through and through, or if it's just twisting through infinite loops together. Let's go through some of the albums quickly, like what you know about them, and what crazy concepts are they talking about, like what sort of stories and how they're different, and like why they make different albums all the time. Maybe we'll get to that at the end, but I think that's the funnest part of them. So, how do they start? What are the first things they put out?
Okay, so I'm going to start off in the middle. So they have 16 albums out. I'm going to start with number 9, which is Nonagon Infinity. And
number 9.
This came out in 2016. Is kind of their breakthrough album. This one took a feel where there was a theme running through each song, and you would hear it from the end of one song right into the next song, and then that song would go off on a tangent, and then 3 or 4 songs later it would loop back, and suddenly you're in that same theme, but perhaps it's in a different key. The structure of it is amazing, and
oh my God, I need to check this out. Woo! I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's chugging hard rock, nothing groundbreaking here. I would say one of the limitations and one of the things that turned me off a little bit at first is their vocals. It's a little bit distorted, almost like it's coming through a megaphone. Mm-hmm. I would like to hear a little more clarity in the vocals in this, but if you're into a scuzzy, fuzzy sound and hard-charging kinetic energy coming down the mountain and building as it's picking up speed.
Yeah, who isn't into that? My God, I think you just defined dad rock.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard might have some fans of dad or the new dad rock out there. So that's their kind of breakthrough album. Their most probably well known, and on some of the live albums I've heard, a big cheer erupts from the crowd when the familiar theme of Nonagon Infinity comes through.
Oh, I see. They could almost jam on any of the songs since they're all intertwined in the same key. Cool.
Right. So
I love this.
The next album I'm going to mention is their only release of 2020 of a studio album. They did put out a couple live albums as well. But KG, which I'm assuming stands for King Gizzard.
Or Kilogram.
Sure. I didn't think of that. Came out this year.
Wait, who is King Gizzard?
I don't know, but he hangs out with the Lizard Wizard as well.
Okay, never mind.
I'm not sure if it's a nickname like the Walrus and,
I get it. Okay. Your first answer was sufficient.
So KG, their most recent album, I would say if you want to get a flavor for if you're going to like King Gizzard and you want to go on this journey, KG might be the place to start. It was their recent album, 2020, their only release. Very accessible. Songs like Straws in the Wind, Honey, several others. We'll put a few in the playlist after. This is very accessible and kind of delves into a few of their themes. It was structured in a way that it's a sort of sequel to another album that they called Flying Microtonal Banana back in 2017. And what both of these albums have is Middle Eastern scales, like a Phrygian or something.
I see. So you're saying KG, if you want the flavor for the Lizard, it's very contemporary, it's very now, it's new. Check out KG. But it's related to this other album,
Flying Microtonal Banana. And it has Middle Eastern scales, and then what is also underneath percolating pretty strongly is psychedelic rock. And what I say about psychedelic rock is that kind of saturated sound that you had in the late 60s.
The wall sound?
Not the wall of sound. I would say more like the early Pink Floyd. Some of that sound. But also, if you throw in a bit of cream as well, that would give you a little bit more akin to the sound of King Gizzard and the Lizard. So they do have really true psychedelic albums. Paper Mache Dream Balloon, just going by the name, that's one of their early albums. It almost sounds to me like an Elephant Six type, the Elephant Six band type recordings. You know, Olivia Tremor Control and Neutral Milk Hotel and those guys. They did something in 2017, Polygon Wonderland, which happens to be open source. So Polygon Wonderland, the music that you're hearing in the background is from that album, and we're going to do a special episode just playing that album, because for the first time we can.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
And then recently I mentioned Infest the Rats Nest. Came out in 2019. It's metal, doom. Some try to call it thrash. I wouldn't say it's thrash at all, but it sounds like a very heavy band. I'm guessing when they're writing songs, they throw some into this category, some into another category.
How many of these albums you got on vinyl?
3 albums.
Oh.
I got for Christmas. So my kids, I have a couple of kids I think I've mentioned. They're like, what do you want? And I said, give me anything by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good.
So, because I had none of their albums on vinyl. And I was like, legitimately, you can get anything.
Wait, so how many did you get?
So I got 3.
I know where this is going.
So I got 3. Fishing for Fishies. I've barely listened to it so far. I'm still trying to savor the experience of going through 16 albums. It's old-timey blues, like roots blues. It sounds like it was recorded. It sounds like it was recorded at a hootenanny or something.
Hootenanny?
A hootenanny. The last track is called Cyber Boogie, and again, we'll put some of these songs in a playlist for you guys to listen to.
Yeah.
It sounds like Green Onions done by ZZ Top. So Fishing for Fishies is one. A second one I got was Sketches of Brunswick East. This came out in 2017, and it's a collaboration with something called the Mild High Club, which I think is just one guy, and I don't believe he's Denver-based.
Oh, that's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
I sent a link to the album, and I sent it to one of my friends, and I said, when Fish isn't trippy enough for you, put this on. It's a little bit of a noodly jazz that comes through. What's interesting about that album, and I do listen to it in my car, sometimes there's Sketches of Brunswick East. For some reason, it sounds like a cityscape behind you. So you hear honking, you hear sirens in the distance, and it's kind of a funny album to listen to while you're driving.
Oh, okay, so drive. I'm just taking notes for later when I gotta listen.
Yeah, and then the last one I got was Chunky Shrapnel, which is a live album that came out this year. It's a double disc live. It's recorded in various venues, and Chunky Shrapnel, I think, is a lyric from a song from their album called "Murder of the Universe."
Oh, that's what I wanted to just ask you about. Like, what a great title, "Murder of the Universe."
Yeah, so it's a Murder of the Universe. Came out in 2017, one of 5 albums that they came out with in 2017. I've only heard 4 of the 5, actually. Flying Microtonal Banana, Sketches of Brunswick East, Polygon Wonderland, and this one, actually the second that came out in the year, was called Murder of the Universe, and it's like a sci-fi story broken into 3 parts, and it's basically about this android who becomes aware and just wants to become a human, and all he dreams about is being able to puke and die.
Yeah, sounds like a dad, maybe. What's the most recent thing that came out by then?
Well, KG was the album that came out last year, but in December they released a single. It's called If Not Now, Then When, and they've already, I think, released plans to release 3 albums in 2021. So that would take their total count to 19 in just over a decade.
So you plan on listening to all these albums, or have you already listened to all these albums?
I can't even say I've heard even a song or two from anyone.
Is it fair to say you're doing most of your listening to them while you're driving to and from skiing?
There is a high degree of that. But yeah, it's great. I put one of their live albums on, and you really get into it. You can drive, and it passes the time.
What should I listen to?
It depends on your taste. I mean, if you're into the heavier stuff or prog or psychedelic or more pastoral sounds.
Which one would you recommend?
So the one I would recommend is probably KG, their most recent album. Like I said, it's probably the most accessible. It probably has the best recording sound. But Polygon Wonderland is another one that you might want to check out. The thing about that album, and I mentioned, is it's open source, so it's available pretty much anywhere free. You can go right onto their website and download it.
Wait, so what are we going to do with that one next time we're on?
Well, next time we're on, I think we're just going to listen to the album. Let people actually hear what we're... Yeah, we'll get together, we'll listen to the album, we'll make a couple snide comments, you know, our witty rejoinders.
That our kids love so much.
Yeah, and you know, we actually get to hear some music. So we'll have some more King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, I'm loving every minute of getting to know them. I pulled together a bunch of songs that I like from various albums and facades of their career so far, and that's going to be in the notes. Hopefully we'll put together a YouTube playlist as well.
Thank you for walking me through that, Steve. Yeah, totally new band for me. So much I have to learn. I'm looking at pictures of them. They look really cool. Scare the hell out of me even. Thanks, Steve, for walking me through that. We're the New Dad Rock. Two dads navigating the ages together.
What does that even mean?
Did that work? To the Gizzard!